Steps for using the substitute method. Step 1. Solve one of the equations for either x or y. Step 2. Substitute the solution from step 1 into the other equation. Step 3. Solve for the second variable. Step 4. Substitute the value of the second variable into the original equation and solve. Hello everyone, welcome to Your Path for Adult Learners. Today we are going to discuss how to solve system of equations utilizing the substitute method. But before I get started, I do want to share with you that I am wearing YOURpath T-shirt. And you are welcome to also go over to our website and purchase a t-shirt. We also have hoodies available, coffee mugs, and tote bags. It is cold outside, so a good hoodie will come in handy just about now. Feel free to purchase any of these items as a way of supporting YOURpath. These are wonderful products and quality products as well. So now with that being said, as I mentioned, we are going to focus today on how to solve system of equations utilizing the substitute method. Now, there are other ways to solve these equations, but we're going to focus on solving them through the substitute method. Now, on the previous slide, the steps for solving a system of equations utilizing the substitute method were outlined. I do encourage you to take a moment to actually look at those steps and be clear on how to actually implement those steps in order to solve system of equations. So now I'm going to demonstrate it here. So now let's get started. So now here we have two equations up on the board. Oftentimes you will see two equations when you're talking about system of equations. Okay, so here we have x minus y equals -3. The second equation, we have x plus y equals 7. So in order to begin to solve your system of equations, you're going to first solve for one of your variables. It doesn't matter which one, you can solve for x or y, but you need to solve for one of your variables so that you can take and insert that information into your next equation. So let's look at how that's done. So here we're going to take our equation number 1. We have x minus y equals -3. And so I have chosen to solve for x. In order to do that, I know that I need to isolate my x. That means that I need to get rid of my y. And I can do that by adding y on both sides of my equation. Remember that what you do on one side, you must also do on the other side, okay? So now, that allows me now to actually eliminate the y's on my left side, leaving me with my x being isolated equals y minus 3. So now I have the expression for x. Okay, and I can take this information here and insert it into my second equation. So now let's do that. Here I know that I know the value of this x is y minus 3. And now I'm going to bring down my y here, which is a positive y equals 7. And now I'm going to actually solve this equation here. So here I have two y's. That's going to give me 2y because both are positive. And when I add them together, I get 2y. I'm going to bring down my -3 equals 7. So now I know that I am trying to find the value for y because this is the only variable in my equation here. And I know that in me solving for y, I need to isolate my y value, okay? So I'm going to begin to isolate it by now getting rid of my 3. And in order to do that, I'm going to add 3 here. And what I do on one side, I must also do on the other side. So I'm going to add 3 here as well. That allows me to now cancel out my 3's here. I'm eliminating them. leaving me with 2y equals, here I have a positive 7 plus 3 will give me 10 because I'm adding them together. And now I have 2y equals 10. So now I know that I need to get rid of my 2 in order to isolate my y. And the only way that I can do this is by dividing by 2 here and dividing by 2 here. Now I'm going to divide by 2 because division is the opposite of multiplication. And here I have 2 times y. So in order to get rid of that 2, I need to divide by 2. That allows me to now cancel out the 2's on the left side, leaving me with the y as I intended to do to isolate my y. And then 2 into 10, divided into 10, gives me 5. And so now I know that my value for y is 5. So now I have the value for y, and I'm going to take my y value, and I'm now going to insert this information into my original equation right here. So now let's do that. I'm going to take, I have x minus 5, because now I need to solve for x, okay? This was the expression for x, but now I need to solve for the value of x. I now have my value for y, so I'm going to take this y value and substitute it for the y here. I now have x minus 5 equals negative 3. I know in order to isolate my x, I need to get rid of this 5 here. The only way that I can do that is by adding 5 on both sides. And what I do on one side, I must also do on the other side. That's going to allow me now to get rid of my 5's here, leaving me with x equals. Here I have a negative 3, a positive 5. I know that I need to subtract because I have two numbers with opposite signs of each other. So that's going to give me a 2. My 2 will take side of the greater number, and in this case, the greater number is 5, which is positive. So that's going to give me a positive 2. So now I have the value for my x, which is x equals 2. I can put it here, 2. And I have the value of my y, which is y equals 5. And so my points are 2 and 5, if I were to graph them. Are you tired of feeling like an underachiever? Tired of being stuck in low-paying jobs? Tired of being told that you don't qualify for a better job or advancement? Then choose to make a change. Earn your high school equivalency diploma through GED or HISET testing. Enroll today in our free 24/7 online GED and HISET courses and start working towards a better future for you and your family. The admissions fee for a pumpkin patch festival at the Witch's Mansion is $2.50 for children and $5 for adults. On Halloween Eve, 1,200 guests attended and $4,050 was collected. How many children and how many adults attended the festival? YOURpath is rolling out its computer application skills building seminar soon. Are you lacking the computer application skills needed to advance in the workplace? Are you interested in learning how to utilize computer applications such as Word Doc, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, and others? Well, here's your opportunity to acquire the computer application skills that you need to succeed in the workplace. You don't have to be afraid of technology anymore. If this seminar interests you, complete the survey below. So you saw the word problem on the previous slide, and now here is how you will actually set up your equation in order to solve your word problem. So now we have total guests equals C, which represents our total number of children, C plus A, total number of adults, equal 1,200 total and all. Total amount 2.5C, which is the cost for our children, plus 5A, which is the cost for our adults, equals 4,050. Okay, and like we did in the previous problem, you want to make sure that you solve for one of your variables. So now here we can solve for either C or we can solve for A, but we need to choose to solve for one of them, okay? In this case, we're going to go ahead and solve for C, and I'm going to write it here. So here we have C plus A equals 1,200. So now I know that in order to isolate my C, which is my goal, I need to get rid of my A. I'm going to do that by minusing out my A on both sides, because what I do on one side, I must also do on the other side. I'm now going to cancel out my A's on my left side, leaving me with C equals, and here we have 1,200 minus A. So now I have the first expression for C, which is C equals 1,200 minus A. I can now take this information and insert it into my second equation. So now I have 2.5 times 1,200 minus A, which is the expression or the value for C. In this case, it goes here, plus 5A equals 4,050. Okay? So now I'm ready to utilize the distributive property, where I'm going to multiply 2.5 times 1,200, and that's going to give me 3,000. And now I'm going to multiply 2.5 times negative A, and that's going to give me a negative 2.5A. Now I bring down my plus 5A equals 4,050. So now I have two like terms because I have a negative 2.5A plus 5A. So I need to combine my like terms right here. And when I combine them, I'm actually going to subtract because I have two numbers with opposite signs. I have a negative and a positive. So I'm going to subtract. That's going to give me 2.5. And this is going to be a positive 2.5 because 5 is the greater number with the positive sign. So my 2.5, when I combine them, will give me a positive 2.5. And so now I'm ready to bring down my 3,000. And we know we have a plus here. So I have 3,000 plus 2.5 equals 4,050. And this will be 2.5A, okay? So now I need to get rid of, I know that I need to isolate my A because I'm solving for A. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of this 3,000, okay? And I can do that by minusing out 3,000 on both sides, because what I do on one side, I must also do on the other side. And so when I do that, this crosses out my 3,000 here because I have a positive 3,000, a negative 3,000, which cancels them out, eliminates them. I'm going to bring down my positive 2.5A. 3,000 from 4,050 leaves me with 1,050. I now need to get rid of my 2.5, and I can do that by dividing because here I'm multiplying 2.5 times A. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide 2.5 here and divide 2.5 on the opposite side. And when I divide 2.5 into 1050, I get 420. And I can cancel out my 2.5s on my left side, leaving me with A equals 420. So now I have 420. I can take that and put it in for my A value. So I have 420 here. I can take C plus 420 equals 1200. So I know that I need to isolate my C. So I'm going to get rid of the 420 by subtracting. And this is going to leave me with C equals 780. So my value for C is 780. So when I add 780 plus 420, that gives me 1200. And so I know that my values for both A and C are correct because I end up with 1200. So for C, for the total number of children, I have 780. For the total number of adults, I have 420.